Overlearning. Overlearning, I think for really experienced trainers, they just go like, of course, like you don't stay in the same spot and get caught in the same motions or the same trap, so to speak. You have to progressively be moving forward within your training all the time. Otherwise, your dog will get locked into X or Y. Okay, so what Michelle found in her studies with overlearning is that in comparison to the control group that was not going through these overlearning protocols, the patients that were going through the overlearning, some of the cases, I believe she said, maybe all the cases, the fear actually increased because they were stuck in this same spot over and over and over again. We don't overlearn on one particular exercise, especially when it comes to like a shaping exercise, because otherwise the dog gets locked into that paradigm and it's very hard to get out of that and progress them through to the next phase of the learning. I'll put a little snippet up here so you can sort of see just a rough little explanation of that.
We even did a study where this was a study with spider phobias. We took the individuals through exposure trials. Each trial was 3 minutes in duration with a 1 minute inter-trial interval, so they had a break for 1 minute, and we brought everybody down to their fear being less than 10 on a 0 to 100 point scale. So they had habituated. They were at a very low level. And at that point, we randomized participants to either a control condition where they did no more, or an overlearning condition. The overlearning condition means that they stay doing repeated exposure trials 200% more than what it took them to get to that first level of below 10, so that they're repeatedly in the presence of the phobic stimulus with a very low level of fear. And you would think from an habituation model that would be very powerful. The person's not only down at a 10 or less, but repeatedly over and over and over again. And then we followed them up 3 weeks later. And this is the overlearning group. And that's a return of fear. So even being at the low level for longer number of trials or more trials did not provide a benefit, and if anything, it provided a return of fear. So what's going on? If habituation, if that reduction in the fear response itself is not the critical index of learning as determined by how the individual's functioning when you bring them back and test them at a later point in time, what is it that's going on? So this brings us back to our basic science of fear learning, which is where exposure therapy began. So when Joseph Wolpe introduced systematic desensitization as the first form of exposure therapy, he was taking from extinction learning theory, and in some ways we've kind of lost that basis to what we do, and my goal has been to study the extinction learning model and see how can we use what's been gained in knowledge in that area to help us.
So if you haven't made it to the end of this video, I hope this has given you enough information for you to make a decision on this, if this is a worthwhile resource for you to invest your time in. Personally, I really think it is. I think Michelle speaks really well. She's an Aussie, so she's from Tasmania, I believe. But yeah, very well spoken. It's a very well put together presentation. There's some really great graphs and charts that she explains through there. So unfortunately it's not one of those things you can sit in your car and listen to get the full value out of it. I do think it's sitting down in front of the TV with a notepad or your laptop or whatever, your phone, whatever you're taking notes on, or sitting in front of your computer in a quiet room and spending the time going through it to take your notes. I think that is the best way to watch this piece of material. With all that being said, like, this is the first out of 4 times that I actually sat down and took pretty heavy notes myself, so you can certainly get something out of it just by listening to it in your car. I suppose the main thing is you just listen to it anyway. Still really think it's worth the time and the trouble to invest in. Cool, so if you did like what you saw here today, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel to give me some form of indication to make sure we can keep going, we can keep producing this sort of content. I've really enjoyed putting it together. It's given me a great cool new skill set that I'm hoping to continue and to develop. I'd love some feedback. I'd absolutely love some feedback from you guys about what you really liked about the video, what you'd like to see, what your sort of expectations are, anything positive, anything negative. I'm happy to take some negative criticism as well. If there's anything that you think that I've said that is incorrect, like, let's have a chat about it. Let's discuss it. The more engagement that I can get from you guys about how to create this product into something great, that would be awesome. So yeah, cool.